Baby, I don't even know where to start anymore. It's like every word I ever wanted to say to you got stuck somewhere between my throat and my soul. I try to bury it under logic, under pride, under the noise of other people's opinions, but it keeps rising. Every night, it rises. Every dawn, it finds a way to whisper your name back into my thoughts, as if the universe itself refuses to forget you. There was a time I thought I could move on, that maybe what we had was just a phase, an echo of something meant to teach, not to last. But the truth, baby, it never left. You never left. You just became silence that spoke louder than any conversation. I walk through crowds, I smile when I have to, but nothing feels alive unless I'm thinking of you. Maybe that's why I'm writing this now, because no matter how many lifetimes I could live, my soul still wants to return home. To you, baby. There's something I never told you. When I first saw you, it wasn't attraction. It was recognition. Like I'd known you before this life, before this skin, before this story. Your energy didn't walk into my life, it remembered me. That's why I was terrified, because I knew that once I allowed myself to love you, there would be no going back. And still I did what cowards do. I ran. I pushed. I pretended. I said things I didn't mean just to protect an image that wasn't even real. Now I sit here with that same image shattered all around me, and I realize what I tried to protect was never me. It was my fear. The fear of being truly seen. The fear of being loved without armor. But baby, you saw me anyway, didn't you? Even when I was pretending to be someone else, you kept looking deeper, as if you knew the truth my soul was too ashamed to admit. You became my mirror, baby, and mirrors don't lie. They show us what we avoid. You showed me everything I wasn't ready to face, my wounds, my patterns, my broken faith. At first I blamed you for it. I told myself you were too intense, too emotional, too demanding. But now I understand. You weren't too much. You were exactly enough to awaken what I'd buried inside. That's why I can't escape your energy. No matter how far I go, I find reminders of you everywhere. In the lyrics of a random song, in the way the wind moves the curtains at night, in the scent of rain that smells just like your hair after our last goodbye. I thought distance would help me forget, but it only made me remember you in higher resolution. Because baby, you're not a memory. You're a frequency my heart keeps tuning back to. There were nights I almost texted you, nights I typed 1,000 messages and deleted every single one. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much. I didn't want to come back as the same man who left you broken. I wanted to return when I had something more to offer than apologies. But lately, I can't shake this pull. It's like the universe is whispering, "Go, it's time." I don't even know what I'll say when I see you again. Maybe I'll just stand there, eyes trembling, trying to memorize your face all over again. Maybe I'll cry before I speak. Maybe I'll just whisper what I should have said all along. Baby, I just want to be in your presence. I used to believe love was supposed to be perfect. Now I see it's supposed to be purifying. It breaks you open so light can enter, and baby, that's exactly what you did. You cracked me wide open, and even though it hurt, I see now, it was the only way my soul could start healing. You taught me what real love looks like. Consistency through chaos, faith through fear, patience through pain. And I know I didn't match that energy before. I let my family's expectations, society's noise, and my own insecurities build walls between us. They told me to be logical, to choose safe love, not soul love. But baby, logic never warmed my heart at 2 a.m. Logic never wrote songs in my head when you smiled. Logic never felt like destiny. You did. I see now how unfair it was. You loved me through my silence, through my absence, through my confusion. You loved me when I didn't even love myself enough to stay. And yet, even when I was gone, I felt your prayers. They followed me everywhere, gentle, forgiving, unconditional. That's what broke me the most, baby. Knowing that the one person I wounded most still sent me light. There's something holy about that, something I'll never find again in anyone else. Because that kind of love doesn't come twice. It's divinely timed, divinely assigned. These days, I talk less and feel more. I've learned that silence has its own language. When I sit alone, I hear your energy in the quiet, soft, strong, forgiving. Sometimes I whisper your name just to remind the stars that I still care. And sometimes I catch my reflection and see the man you always believed I could be. Maybe that's why I want to come see you, baby. Not to reopen old wounds, but to show you that the boy who ran has grown into a man who stays, a man who no longer hides behind fear, a man who finally understands that love isn't weakness, it's the purest form of strength. I won't lie, baby. I still get scared. What if you don't want to see me? What if you've healed so beautifully that my presence would only disturb your peace? That thought keeps me awake at night, because the last thing I'd ever want to do again is hurt you. But the truth is, pretending I don't miss you hurts even more. Every version of my life without you feels like a half-written story, and no matter what I build, it feels incomplete, because you were always the meaning behind my motivation. Sometimes I imagine walking up to your door again, my hands trembling, heart racing, eyes unsure, and before I can even speak, you'd look at me and smile, that soft, knowing smile, the one that used to calm the storms inside me. Maybe you'll ask why now, and all I'll say is because my soul wouldn't let me wait any longer. Because, baby, I'm not coming to fix the past. I'm coming to honor it, to thank you for loving me before I loved myself, to tell you that the separation wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It took losing you to find the truth. And the truth is simple. I was always meant to love you. I just had to remember how. These months apart have been my awakening. I learned that healing isn't about forgetting someone. It's about becoming the person who can finally deserve them. I faced the shadows I used to hide from. I forgave the family members who made me doubt what we had. I even forgave myself for the times I lied to you just to look strong. But strength doesn't come from walls. It comes from vulnerability. And baby, standing here now, stripped of all my defenses, I finally feel strong enough to be honest. And baby, standing here now, stripped of all my defenses, I finally feel strong enough to be honest enough to say, I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. Even when I convinced myself it was over, my soul never believed it. Maybe that's why I feel drawn to you now more than ever. It's not obsession, it's alignment. The universe doesn't repeat lessons unless we ignore them. And every sign, every dream, every random song on the radio keeps saying your name. It's like the divine is whispering, this chapter isn't done, go write the ending you both deserve. So here I am, baby, humbled, awakened, ready to face whatever comes next. even if it means hearing you say you've moved on. Because the truth is, I'd rather see you happy without me than broken because of me. That's what real love does. It sets you free, even when it aches. But if there's still even a small corner of your heart that remembers me, if your soul still feels that quiet pull toward mine, then I want you to know I'm coming not with promises but with presence, not with explanations but with truth, not to ask you to relive the past but to walk with me toward a healed future. Because baby, I just want to be where your energy feels alive again, even if we don't say a word, even if all we do is sit in silence under the same sky that once held our prayers. That would be enough. So tell me, baby, if I showed up tomorrow, heart in my hands, eyes full of truth, would you open the door? Would you let me sit beside you, even for a moment? Would you receive me not as the man who left, but as the soul who finally found his way home? Because I swear, I can feel the pull stronger every day. Your name echoes through every thought. And it's not desperation, it's divine direction. Something in me knows that until I face you, I can't move forward. Baby, can I come see you? Will you receive me? Because all I want now is to be in your presence. If you feel this message deep in your soul, type, I receive this love in the comments. Baby, after all this time, I've started to understand that the real distance between two souls isn't measured in miles. It's measured in silence. And I've lived inside that silence for far too long. Every night when I lie down, there's a moment right before sleep when I can almost feel your presence near me. It's like my soul reaches for you instinctively, like a reflex it never unlearned. That's when the memories begin to play. Your voice, your laughter, that one look you gave me that said more than any words ever could. It's in those small fragments of remembrance that I realize just how deeply you became part of me. I used to think time would dilute it, the distance would soften it, but baby, time has only made it clearer. What we had wasn't something the universe meant to erase. It was something it meant to evolve. There's something I never told you about those first weeks after I left. I tried to fill the emptiness with distractions. I went out, smiled for pictures, laughed at jokes I didn't feel, surrounded myself with noise so I wouldn't have to face what was echoing inside. But the thing about real connections, baby, is that they haunt you. Not like ghosts, but like lessons. Everywhere I went, I carried your energy like a quiet hum beneath my skin. I thought if I could pretend long enough, it would fade. But it didn't. It became louder. Every time I denied it, life found new ways to remind me that truth doesn't die in denial. It waits in patience. And my truth was always you. I know you must have thought I moved on easily. I know it must have looked like I didn't care. But what you saw on the surface was nothing compared to what was unraveling beneath it. I broke down more times than I can count. There were nights I'd wake up gasping, realizing that in running away from you, I was running away from myself, because the love we shared wasn't built on infatuation. It was built on revelation. It was built on revelation. You revealed me to me, and once that happens, you can't go back to pretending you're blind. Baby, I saw myself in your love, and after you, everything else looked like imitation. I've replayed our last conversation 1,000 times. The pauses between our words, the exhaustion in your voice, The way your silence carried more emotion than anything I could say. I thought I was protecting us by letting go. I thought maybe I was too damaged, too lost, too complicated to offer you something whole. I thought leaving was an act of love, that I was sparing you the weight of my chaos, but I see now that what I really did was break both our hearts. Because love doesn't need perfection, baby. It needs truth. And I had truth in my hands, but was too afraid to hold it. Sometimes I wonder what you'd say if you saw me now. Would you even recognize me? The man who's been through storms of his own making, who's had to face the wreckage of every decision, who's learned that apologies mean nothing without transformation. I've changed, baby. Not for show, not to impress, but because life forced me to. The same universe that took you away kept sending me mirrors, people, moments, lessons that all carried your reflection, and through them I learned humility. I learned that real love doesn't control, it cherishes. It doesn't demand, it honors. It doesn't disappear when it's hard. It deepens when it's tested. I remember something my mother once said. She told me, when a love is meant for your soul, not your ego, it will strip you bare until all that's left is truth. I didn't understand it back then, but now I do. You stripped me bare, baby. Not out of cruelty, but out of divine necessity. You were the fire that burned away every illusion I had about love. You showed me that love isn't about possession. It's about presence, and your presence, even in absence, has been my greatest teacher. Every mistake I've made since then, every heartbreak, every failure, it all led me back to understanding how sacred what we had truly was. I can't lie, baby. Sometimes I still get angry. Angry at myself for not fighting harder. Angry at destiny for its timing. Angry at how much I still feel you when I thought I'd learned to numb myself. But underneath all that anger, there's something softer. Gratitude. Because if I hadn't lost you, I wouldn't have learned what love actually means. I wouldn't have known that connection isn't about constant communication. It's about eternal resonance. We may not talk anymore, but I feel you in ways that words could never reach. You're the whisper in my intuition, the calm in my chaos. The reason I still believe that souls find their way back when the lesson is complete. These days, I move slower. I speak more intentionally. I've stopped trying to impress people who don't see me and started healing the parts of me that once needed validation. Every time I close my eyes in prayer, your name still slips through somehow. It's not a plea anymore. It's a blessing. I don't ask for you to come back. I just ask for your peace wherever you are. And maybe, if the divine wills it, for our paths to cross again when both our hearts are ready. Because, baby, readiness, that's what we lacked before. We had love, but not readiness. Passion, but not patience. Desire, but not direction. Now I finally understand the difference. I think that's what divine timing really means. It's not about waiting for a perfect moment. It's about becoming the version of yourself who can finally hold what's meant for you without breaking it. And baby, if destiny ever allows me to stand before you again, I'll hold you differently this time. I'll listen more. I'll choose peace over pride, connection over control, truth over comfort. I won't rush to fill the silence because I'll know that even silence between us has its own sacred rhythm. I won't rush to fill the silence because I'll know that even silence between us has its own sacred rhythm. I'll love you with the awareness that love isn't something to prove, it's something to protect. And if that moment never comes, if I never get to see you again, I'll still be thankful. Because meeting you was my awakening. Loving you was my initiation. Losing you was my transformation. Every phase taught me something my soul needed to know. You were never my mistake, baby. You were my mirror, my guide, my greatest lesson in faith. You showed me that love is eternal, even when form changes. You taught me that endings are just disguised beginnings, that sometimes souls separate, not to punish each other, but to polish each other. And maybe, just maybe, we're still polishing. So, if you ever feel me in your dreams, if my name crosses your mind for no reason, if your heart suddenly feels heavy without knowing why, know that it's me, thinking of you, sending peace instead of pain, hope instead of regret, because I've learned that love doesn't always need reunion to be real. Sometimes its highest form is blessing from afar. But if the divine ever whispers that it's time, I'll come, baby. I'll come, not with promises, but with proof. Proof that growth is real. Proof that love survives distance. Proof that souls, once awakened by each other, never truly part. If you feel this message reaching your heart, type, "I still believe in divine timing," in the comments. Baby, it's strange how the closer I get to accepting the truth, the more the universe starts rearranging things around me. Lately, everything feels like it's guiding me somewhere, back toward you, back toward what I once turned away from. The people around me are changing, the conversations are shifting, and even the silence between my thoughts has started to sound different. I used to resist it. I used to tell myself that it was just nostalgia, that I was romanticizing the past. But baby, this isn't nostalgia. It's remembrance. It's the soul recognizing what belongs to it. And the more I surrender to that recognition, the more I realize that what I called moving on was really just waiting in disguise. For the first time in a long while, I've started talking to my family about you. I don't mention your name out loud, but I think they can feel it. They can sense the shift in my tone, the softness that wasn't there before. My mother noticed it first. She said I look like I've been somewhere far away and finally found my way home. She doesn't know that home isn't a place, it's you. And though I don't have the courage yet to tell them everything, I've stopped pretending that I'm over it. I told them that sometimes life gives you one connection that defines all others, and no matter what happens, it keeps echoing until you face it fully. They stayed quiet. Maybe they understood. Maybe they didn't, but it felt good to finally speak your truth, even in incomplete sentences. Baby, there's something I want to admit. When I distanced myself from you, part of me believed my family wouldn't accept what we had. I was scared of their judgment, scared of defying expectations, scared of choosing my heart over their approval. I thought I was doing the right thing, being practical, being responsible, but all I did was trade peace for performance. I became someone who smiled for everyone and suffered in silence. I thought I could hide the ache, but it leaked into everything. Every plan I made without you fell apart.